Take the javelin and make it travelin is real determination, a process of inclination. What it comes being is what it is already in the maker shiftings. And that is at the cornerstone of this week's astrology. I'm Ever Curdy, and I'm going to be discussing the astrology between October 19th through the 25th. We are in the last week of Libra season, so our diplomats, our Michelle Cromers are out, our feng shui artists are out, and then we shift into Scorpio and we take the deep plunge into the depths of the underworld. And so the sun will enter Scorpio on October 2nd. That will definitely help out with that. But delving into this week's astrology that I'm going to be breaking down day by day in chronological order, beginning on Monday. October 20th has a very, very energetic aspect happening, and that is Mercury, the planet of communication and thought and intellect and dominance. It will be holding hands with Mars, the planet of action and assertion and drive. And these two planets will be meeting up at 19 degrees of Scorpio. So Mercury in Scorpio is is the investigator. It takes the deep dive. It always wants to look below the surface to things, speaking out the truth, revealing secrets. Mars in Scorpio can really go at something with a very, very strong will and not give up. It's loyal to the core, to whomever and whatever it seeks to attain. Because fixed water equals desire. And Scorpio's phrase, because every sign has a little phrase. Aries is I am, Taurus is I have, Capricorn is I build, Virgo is I analyze, and Scorpio is I desire. So this is a very energy that talks about really putting our foot put-ins in the waker shiftings, not the maker shiftings, but being determined in that pursuit of quest of what you've set out to achieve. So when these two masculine planets, and most of them besides the moon and Venus are masculine, Neptune is masculine. When Mercury and Mars meet up in Scorpio, we are very, very determined to get to whatever goal that we've set our sights on. We have our little post in the desert, and we are traveling across the desert to that end game post, and we are reductuating that post strongly to the end of time. Now, I feel like I'm going to say that quite a bit. Scorpio is a sign that, as I've said before, is loyal to the core, goes to the ends of the earth to defend those that it cares about, to get what it wants. It has this blinders on. I'm focused, I'm steadfast. And Mars operates in the most similar and familiar kind of way in Scorpio than it does in any other of the water signs. Cancer and Pisces are very different placements for Mars to be in. They express itself in very, very different ways. Mars in Scorpio is one of the most prominent Mars placements because Mars rules Scorpio. Keep in mind that Mars is the ancient ruler of Scorpio, and until Pluto was discovered in 1930, Mars was the planet that ruled Scorpio only. But now Scorpio has two rulers in its wake. So what can happen when we have Mercury and Mars is hot words, aggressive words. That can come to the surface, that can come to the forefront. We may purge things. We may actively take action upon things that will remove us from feeling frustration and anger. Whatever helps us get away from the feelings of frustration and anger will be very, very highly prominent now. It's also very easy to act without thinking, act before thinking, not having the forethought, not having the um, you know, logical ability to see the judgment tapes to the Woods Runner tapes. And the tendency comes in doing it very, very strongly. So, we have um a mental vengeance at this time. Definite mental vengeance. We're acting on our ideas. We're taking our ideas that we have and we're putting them into action. We're putting them to tangible form and easily bringing them into our reality. It isn't just head games, pipe dreams, fantasies. It's realistic action manifestation. So it's very important that we are strong in getting our point across, but we're also open to the perspectives of others. It's not binary, it's both and. We can be very, very steadfast in our expressions, and we can be very receptive in our interactions with others as well. So we can engage with others that can truly enrich our perspective on life. What are the ways of engaging with others in your life that can really, really prove a point? That red dot in the sand, that green obfuscating waves of the determination factor. So when we reach out to others, when we learn their life stories and their experiences and what they've learned through those experiences, it expands our perspective on life. Now, mindfulness is very, very important at this time, as well as patience. So practicing both of these two things in your own way will definitely be of benefit to you. On Tuesday, October 21st, we have the new moon in Libra. Now, this new moon happens 2 weeks after that full moon in Aries on October 6th and 7th. Keep in mind that we are in the lunar phase of having the full moon and then the new moon in an astrological sign season. So this is where it really, really gets choppy. So the new moon in Libra, this lunation happens when the sun and moon are together in Libra. It's a new moon, it's a dark sky. For those born under new moons, you are more introverted, you are more reflective, you are more internal. So just because you have sun and moon in Aries doesn't mean you're feisty and fiery. It takes on a more introverted, it takes on a retrograde sort of manner. It's very, very similar to having Mercury retrograde. You're more introverted, you're more introspective. So the new moon in Libra is a lunation that deals with relationship, not romances where we get swept off our feet and dating in that whole fifth house area. We're talking committed relationships with Libra energy, committed partnerships. And so it's very, very important that we have togetherness as our steampunk, togetherness as our way of ascension, that we're including everybody, that we're being open, that we're being social to everyone. Now, the themes of a Libran lunation are peace, balance, and harmony. These three words are um, the cornerstone of what Libra is about. Now, Libran energy can be very, very accommodating, and it can be overly accommodating where we lose our sense of center, we lose our sense of identity, and un we're giving from an empty well. So, where are you people pleasing in your life? In what area of life? Because there's probably an area of your life that you are people pleasing in. Determine that area of life. and say, I am going to take care of myself. I'm going to put myself first. I'm going to respect myself. I'm going to care for myself, and I'm not going to get drained. I'm not going to get pulled down. And so, being a martyr is what we need to address. In what area of life are we being a martyr? Now, any new moon is where we're setting our intentions, which begins a new manifestational cycle of the moon traveling through all its phases, including the first quarter, final quarter, and full moons, and also the waxing gibbous crescent, the balsamic moon, the whole gamut, basically. So, the intentions that we're setting under this lunation collectively are about relationships. Now, you're going to see what areas of life this new moon falls in and what area relationship of your life will you set these new intentions. So, if it is in the eighth house, maybe new relationships are being set with the people that work at the bank or the people who um, have taboo interests for their career choice, for instance. So, those kind of relationships are what you are setting new intentions about. So, during this time, we need to acknowledge the parts of ourselves that want to be transformed. What is the part of ourselves that needs a letting go, that needs a transformation, that needs to be say, I am being true to myself and I am letting go of this thing that does not serve me anymore. This is hindering my growth. I will tell you what this does not include. It does not include a plan that you have made that you will eventually act upon in a year from now. That's not what I'm talking about. This is immediate, right now, groups on the ground, present moment awareness, this thing right now in my life that does not serve me. That's what I'm talking about. And so if this thing is not working out for you in your life, why hold on to it? Why not just let it float down the stream? And it may be hard because you may be so attached to the familiar routines. As hard as it is, when you let it go, you will feel so much more liberated, so much more free to live a life which is in alignment with your highest good. Now, this may be a time which is highly about seeing yourself through the eyes of others, seeing yourself through others' perspective of who you are, and that can be beneficial. Where are you still living from your wounds, and not living from love? Where you're having your wounds rule the ship, you're acting and you're speaking from a place of woundedness and not from a place of love. Now, it's very important that at this time you open your heart, you follow your desires, you put yourself first, you do all these things. That's one of the action steps for the month of October is to put yourself first. And um, who do you want to relate with? What kind of relationships do you want to have? Instead of um, having to relate because of this person forcing you into this relationship. Who do you want to relate to in your life? That's a decision that you can make very, very sovereign. That's the Aries and Libra combo right there. So, you may be hiding away, having avoidance, having fear, having grudges, and doubt sort of holds you back. And so be who you are unapologetically. Shine your light bright without dimming it. Choose change, life, and love, and balance the rhythm of life. Now, the aspect for this lunation is the sun square Jupiter, the moon square Jupiter. So the sun and moon are together, both forming a square to Jupiter and Cancer. So Libra and Cancer. Jupiter is currently in Cancer, going direct. It will be direct until November 11th. So the moon square Jupiter. what this can result in is acting without thinking of the consequences. You're acting impulsively, you're not thinking of the ramifications and the repercussions of things. You're acting without forethought. You are acting with not being clear, not being 100% on the decision that you want to make. And feeling guilty, like, well, this isn't the best decision. I should change it, but no, I'm going to stick with what I did, with what I've decided. And you do that, and you're denying the true part of yourself that really wants you to make this decision over there. You're cutting that part of you off, and you're not being true to yourself because it's just so hard to make a decision. That's all I can say on this. So choose a choice that feels 100% true to who you are as best you can. So you may have access in doing things such as overindulging in certain things, and any hard aspect of Jupiter indicates this in food, drugs, alcohol, whatever it is. You may feel very confident. You may feel very optimistic. Those are two very, very high-ranking qualities of, Jupiterian energy. Is being confident and optimistic, but avoiding giving in to confidence. And so it's very, very important to give, but not from an empty well. Give without draining yourself. Take care of yourself as well as being generous with others. Taking care of yourself so that you can give more of that back. So I've taken care of myself. Now I can give back to others. At this time, you may be into religion or spirituality. To tape it is to break it. You may not feel needed, you may not feel wanted from others, and this can result in a very, very sad feeling of sorrow. And Jupiter is in Cancer, so Jupiter and Cancer people go out of their way to make others feel nurtured, others feel safe, others feel at home in themselves and in the environment that they're in. Um, and so you want your acts of generosity to be repaid. This could be because Jupiter rules higher education, so returning to school, going back and learning for a career that you want to plan out for your life, going back to school, going back taking classes, and also do not overindulge in shopping. Now, the next day on October 23rd, two things are happening. The first of which is the sun changing signs on October 22nd. The sun is going to move into Scorpio until November 22nd, when it moves into Sagittarius. And so for this next month, we are not on the surface of the water. We are going below the surface to find the true answers of things. We're digging deep. We are investigating. We're finding the truth, the proof in the pudding. We're finding these true answers. We're being detectives. Um, in whatever environment that we're in our lives, we are digging deep and finding what is really going on in this environment. And what are my desires? What do I really want, really? And pursuing those desires with the very, very strong urge to transform ourselves in a way that we are fixed on our goals and we're also very, very determined. So that's what Scorpio season is about. So I thought I would acknowledge that. The other event that's happening on October 23rd is Neptune moving back into the last sign of the zodiac. Neptune's moving back into Pisces. So, what does this mean? So, I want to give you a timeline of events here. Neptune entered Aries March 30th, 2025. I shouldn't say the year, it's redundant. It retrograded, turned retrograde in Aries July 4th. October 22nd, it moves back into Pisces. October 22nd, 23rd, depending on your time zone. Um, Neptune moves back into Pisces. And so this is a time to change up our lives and personal experiences, to really do that unapologetically, um, to really inaugurate the inauguration, basically, to rake the shake the shake. When it comes to doing this, we're really, really good at it. Now, perception is reality. That is the truth. And so that's what Saturn in Pisces has taught us. We're getting a broader perspective with Pisces energy. So from a distance, we're gaining a higher perspective of a Piscean energy, and we're looking at things objectively. We're seeing things more clearly for what they are realistically, or for what they are really. This is a time to heal the past and strengthen ourselves in the now. You want to deal with the things that were put off on the back burner. You want to reevaluate your commitments, particularly close relationships, and seeing others for who they really are. Doing that very, very strongly. Neptune goes back into Pisces, revisiting the degrees it was in at the very beginning of this year, the first few months of the year. We are evaluating our boundaries in relationships. Very, very important. Neptune goes direct on December 10th in Pisces. It will return in late January 2026. So Neptune will be going into Aries January of 2026. So Neptune returns to its home sign of Pisces. It returns to 29 degrees, where it is where there is a release to be made, a willing release. It's in things that we've been percolating on since 2012, now we're releasing it. This is a cleansing rain of the confusion and the illusions. So we are during this last time in Pisces in our whole entire lifetimes, by the way. This is the last time, the last big hurrah of Neptune in Pisces. It is a cleansing rain of all the confusion, all the lies, all the deception. And we are staking it at the top of the hill. And so we need to reevaluate our connection to our intuition, with our inner guidance system, and really tapping into in an altered state through meditation or what have you, in a way that you're connected to the oneness of all that is. Because we are all one. Pisces is the ocean with no boundaries. It just merges into each other. So, what are the dreams that are soul contracts that you had in your life that expired? For instance, when I was growing up, I had this thing that I had called an Amenton, and I have actually an oracle deck that I've created that will hopefully get published sometime in my lifetime called the Amenton Realm Oracle. It takes it through settings, situations, events, and has spiritual meanings. And I've written the about the card and the guidance for the card. I've written the whole guidebook. I have it all prepared. The only thing I don't have prepared is the page numbers, and I don't have an artist yet to grade the cards. But anyway, um, I had the Invention when I was growing up. It was this pretend thing where guests would come from movies, TV shows, celebrities, and I'd show them around, and there would be special ways to honor them and pay tribute to them. And there would also be several events on the past land buyers. And so I did that for a while, and it was at the very, very end of last year that that contract finally expired. and I was done with it. I have no more desire to continue to do it. I believe that another contract that expired in my life is my playing piano for fun because I no longer have any inspiration to do that. And I worry that when I do play piano for fun, it ruins the enjoyment of the music that I could be listening to other people's music, other creators of music, because I would play the chords and the chords would be sound so special, it would be boring. You get the gist. So, what are those soul contracts that need to just stop? They're done. Let them go. What are the illusions that are holding you back? What are those limiting beliefs, limiting truths? What ways of escaping reality have held you back from living with present moment awareness? Very, very important. Surrender and trust, embrace your emotions. Now, on October 24th, the Sun in Scorpio squares Pluto in Aquarius at 1 degree. So, um, what we have going on here is intensity with the Sun square Pluto. So, we're getting right down to tasks and we're getting them done with determination and efficiency. Scorpio is one of those signs that when they set their sights on something, they are going to achieve it to the end of the year. So, getting right down to it, really, really achieving this task very strongly. Groveling down me. You may not know when to stop your obsession because you may become very, very obsessed, may become very focused and very absorbed into something, or it may be hard to let it go in its traces and be present and focus on the here and now and one step at a time. Um, what is the release that need to be happened that can make way for rebirth and transformation? Transformation and letting go of behaviors that don't serve your highest good is very, very important. So what does not work, let it go, transform it, release it from your life, and move on as a fully empowered being, because that's a really high road of Pluto and Scorpio, is the process of being empowerment. There are meditations that can help with that. There are card decks that can help with that, such as the Isis Oracle by Elena Fairchild. Um, you know, several, many, many different types of decks. The Samhain Oracle that can help with shadow work. Um, so there are all these tools in your life, tools in the world to help you to do that shadow work and release and transform and ultimately become empowered. Um, you're releasing old patterns that have kept you from growing. You're approaching challenges with curiosity and open-mindedness. So this is very, very important. Things can go wrong or right this time, so that may become a big issue. There may be power struggles in relationships, so that may become huge. Where there are conflicts, where there are confrontations. And it's very important at this time to make a safe space for others and yourself to express your emotions and vulnerabilities in a space that is non-judgmental. Now, Mercury is going to square Jupiter. This is the last aspect happening today on October 24th. And so this aspect is exact on Friday of next week. Um, so Mercury squared Jupiter. We have the bigger mind, the more philosophical, the more expansive, the more grandiose mind, and Mercury, the more analytical mind, the small mind in a square. So, what this means is that we are very optimistic. We're very positive about life. We see the glass half full. We see the potentials in things. We have a very, very broad outlook or perspective. However, we can become overconfident. We can become, you know, hubris. We can become, promising things that we can't deliver, and that may be an issue. Indecision and procrastination, those are big issues. Pay attention to how you express yourself. Paying attention that the words that are coming out. Are they true? Are they kind? Are they real? Are they in the right perspective? Or are they not? Overconfidence in your speech may come up, ideas for long-term goals, having ideas, having good for future pacing, thinking of your dreams, your future, planning out for the future, good for strategic planning, idealistic thinking. You may be arrogant at the low level, and so open to express yourself unapologetically, but also be open to others' feedback. Stay grounded. Do not promise more than you can deliver on. That's very, very important. Um, and cultivate mindfulness. So that is what I have on the astrology for October 19th to the 25th. Thank you for tuning in. You can do the features that allow for this video below the video. And I will look forward to seeing you in the next video, which will be on in um Venus in Virgo. Venus in Virgo in the natal birth chart and what it means as you have a big checklist and you're very discerning about it and you are quite picky when it comes to the partner you choose. So more will be discussed in that video coming out in a couple of days. So tune in for that. Keep your eyes open for that. I will see you in that video. Bye for now.